Hey guys, today is July 31st, 2018, and we're going to have a cool day today, so we're going to go ahead and put our radiant barrier on the existing purlins, go in that direction, and then once that's done, we're going to actually do new purlins going east-west in the opposite direction, and then we're going to install the metal roofing and stuff on top of that second layer. That way we've got an air gap between, below, and above the radiant barrier, which makes it more effective. So anyway, that's the goal here for the first part of the day. We'll see how much we can get done, and hope you enjoy. Okay, so you're taking a look at the roof right now, and you're seeing the synthetic underlayment that is on the roof right now, and then the purlins that were done from the north to the south. Okay, so the goal is when you're putting on the metal roofing, the purlins actually need to go east-west. So basically from the closest part of the roof you're seeing here to the farthest end over there, that's the direction that they need to travel. So to be able to do the radiant barrier, you actually have to do the purlins vertically, and that's a good way to do it because as heat gets generated from the sun, this vertical channel, which is rising up like this, will actually, through natural convection, allow heat to move up the channel and cool that area, which will make the barrier more effective. So what I did here is, as you can see, basically staple a couple spots on one end. Just make sure we're not going too far over the edges. Tack it down so that the wind doesn't rip it off. And I probably went a little bit overkill on the staples there. I actually have to do a little bit less on the next round. This radiant barrier that we ended up getting, it was from a company called US Energy. We picked it up off of Amazon.com back on June 17th. And came in right away. It was on Amazon Prime. It was 129 bucks, 88 cents. It was shipped here, pretty heavy, 2 large rolls. I mean, it's hard to actually carry both the rolls and grab them because they're just kind of bulky and awkward. But it's basically a dual-sided radiant barrier, and dual-sided radiant barrier with a mylar weave that's actually built into it, so you cannot rip it with your hands. You can only what do you call it, cut it with a little knife or blade or something. So anyway, I had to go downstairs there and go get the second roll. This Super R Plus Radiant Barrier was 1,000 square feet. Well, it's supposed to be 4 times 250. At least that's what it says here, but I think I ended up getting, well, let's see, what's that, 50, 100, I guess I got 250, 250 feet of this because that roof is 50 feet long. I got, 2.5 strips out of it, so that's about 125 feet. So yeah, 250 is what I ended up getting there. So I had a little bit of barrier left over. I needed Kelly. She actually ran off to go get some stuff in the car, grab some 2x4s, because at the bottom end where the eaves are, we're going to be putting a 2x4 at the base there, so that the metal, because the purlins are actually half an inch tall, the radiant barrier is aluminum thin. It's a little bit thicker than the regular aluminum. And then the next round of purlins is going to be another ½ inch on top of that. Plus, then you've got the 7/16 decking, so about ½ an inch there. So you've got 1.5 inches above. When the metal is going to be attached on the eaves there's going to be a space gap of about 1.5 inches. So we're going to do a 2x4 across the base of the eaves over there. And look at those little turkeys down there running around. But anyway, let's go ahead and move to the next spot, and let's get the rest of the purlins started on here. Okay, so these were 16-foot purlins. They were 1x3s, or they are 1x3s, and the goal was to get them right to the edge of the decking so that when you're looking up and you're looking at the exposed rafters with the metal and stuff above them, you don't see anything else but the rafter tail, which is the classic craftsman style look for homes. So anyway, normally they say put one nail down here to get these purlins down. I went ahead and did two, and I tried to be right over the joist so that we could try to get some additional bite in there, just to give the roof more rigidity and strength. So had to measure out 24 inches on center for each of these, and then it started raining towards the very end of this whole process. And then here, just on the very far, or the close end here, that last section is actually more than 24 inches. It's more like 28 approximately. And so anyway, it just doesn't make things line up. So I decided I was just going to go ahead and line everything up from the far west side to right before this end piece that's right in the front. And I cut those specifically the right size at the end, came back and actually finished them. And apologize for the little black section here that you're seeing on the top left of the camera. The lens, the automatic lens opener thing didn't fully open, and I didn't notice it. So, anywho, so Kelly's down there being my my purlin helper. Handed me a lot of these things up here, and I thought this was going to be kind of pretty difficult to do because I didn't know where you're going to step and step through the foil and ruin the foil or whatever. But it was actually pretty easy to see where the purlins were below it, and to make sure I was stepping on each of those. And the roof was dry, so everything was pretty easy to walk on. Here at the very end, it starts to drizzle and mist a little bit, so we just took a break and went in town, got some ice, and did a few things, and came back. And then it was a little bit too windy and got a little bit too dark. So tomorrow we're going to go and work on putting the metal and stuff in place. And then at some point we have to build the front eave, which is going to be a certain angle and everything and adjustable so that we can maybe put our solar panels and stuff in the front. And what you're seeing here is Kelly cut me a special piece for the far end that didn't line up, and making sure that you got overlap of the purlins on the upper purlins on the lower purlins. And then we've got enough screws and everything in there, nails that are going directly in to hold all that stuff down. So it did end up starting to can you stop? Dog? So anyway, got these done, and so what do you think? Pretty cool, huh? So now we had some friends and stuff come over, and we're checking the place out. But at this point, now we've got a radiant barrier that is raised up off of the roof, so you're not going to get the emissive properties as much. You'll have some air gap beneath it, and air is probably one of your best insulators. So it's going to take the heat and deliver it right out the top into the roof, or the, what do you call it, ridge vent. And then we'll have another radiant barrier above it, which of course is the metal roofing, and that should make a huge difference in terms of trying to keep this cool. This type of roof system, doing research and stuff, I found it in various places in South Africa, Nigeria, places where they are trying to figure out a way to make the inside of a building cooler and not have the sun rays feel like they're just beating through the roof. So anyway, I'm going to put a link to the radiant barrier here in just a second, and if you would like to get some, please use the Amazon link because it will help us out. Have a great day.